the markets have been difficult. There's been a profound impact, as the report suggests, on infrastructure spend in the region. And what's around the corner, what's in store for our clients is what we really are focused on in that report. The good news is there is uptick. The good news is there is reason to be optimism. The equity markets are coming back, but these projects are coming back. Mauritius to Ghana, down to Angola, we do see uptick in the marketplace for infrastructure spend.
It's quite fascinating. A little while ago, we were talking about foreign direct investments into the continent as well, and that's down around 14%. When you look at South Africa, FDI is down around 78%. Tell us why we've seen such a big slump. I mean, obviously it's got to do with liquidity pressures that have come to the fore due to the financial crisis, and you're saying that things could perhaps get better going into 2011, but what is going to push us further, push us higher from these levels?
The problem is there is a massive risk paradigm. The risk paradigm is governments continue to work in pre-2007 levels in terms of their risk profile, while lenders are moving downwards in what they want to push down on projects in terms of cautionary terms and conditions. And trying to reconcile that will be the mantra for the future. So as we get governments to understand that and work more nimbly and more commercially, as we get lenders to get confidence back, we'll see more of an uptick. And that's the real challenge, to reconcile that risk paradigm, as we call it.
Well, Vishal, let's touch on a very important industry, electricity on the continent, and we need to electrify most parts of the continent. How do you see that playing out? We know the Nigerian government has embarked on getting private-public partnerships in place. Apart from that, we've also seen other countries wanting to embark on this. Do you think that that's going to be a big focal point going forward?
The critical success factors are all around project preparation. Getting these projects in a timely manner to market, thinking through these projects, simplifying the process, making sure that investors are up to speed with the risk, and really governments playing a more commercial role at marketing these projects in a meaningful way, preparing them. Preparation is everything. Markets care about projects that are simplified. Markets care about projects that are bankable. Governments need to understand that and work towards that. Yeah. The days of do-it-yourself have gone. Governments must focus on bringing these projects in a sophisticated, professional manner to the marketplace.
And of course, the market also wants to see profits. And it's also said that when we do see private participation in infrastructural projects, or perhaps in the electricity sector as well, that's a sector that mostly is subsidized by the government. This is one of the big concerns, that perhaps it does push up the prices for the end consumer, for the end user.
That's right, but there are, as you're suggesting, for example, take Nigeria, there are good projects, there's a good portfolio of projects, but being able to prepare them properly, bring them to the market properly, and being able to find some sort of balance between those that are economically viable and those that have a little bit of a social infrastructure bend to it is the key. And being able to differentiate that is important both for the procurers of that infrastructure and the investors/buyers of this infrastructure.
Okay, where do you see the most money flowing into the African continent? To which sector? Of course, telecoms has been one of the favorites. When you look at the mining industry, it also seems to be sapping up quite a bit of the money that comes into the continent. Also roads infrastructure, because if you are investing in the mining industry, you need to get your goods out in some way, especially when it comes to landlocked countries.
Telecoms, power, roads/transport is where the spend has been. What keeps me up at night and worries me as a practitioner is what's happening in telecommunications, and particularly the investment in telecommunications infrastructure. So gone are those days, I believe, and we believe as practitioners, that you'll see the 80-odd% investment in the region. And the key reasons are, if you actually look at the operators, the governments have issued too many licenses. In Tanzania, there are 9 licenses. In Kenya, there are 4. Yeah. There are licenses being issued everywhere, and these operators are working a market that's getting more and more saturated, are killing themselves, coming with tariffs that make no sense, and the margins are shrinking. As these margins shrink, it means they'll have less and less money to give you and me and the mass public good infrastructure. That's what we should be worried about.
Yeah. What about the financing scenarios that perhaps will play out into 2011 as well? We've seen a lot of the peripheral Eurozone countries coming under pressure. We need to ensure that fiscally our statements are sound and our balances and are in check, definitely. Vishal, how do you see that happening? I mean, we've got the Nigerian Eurobond set to be launched. Kenya has considered it. Looking at Ghana, they're also talking about Eurobond issuances.
Sure. Sure, there are two sides to it. One, in terms of flow of capital, the private equity side, it really truly is South-South. It's not a cliche. I really think that the markets are Asian markets, Middle Eastern markets, South Africa into Africa. That's where the money is flowing from. That's the most interesting money into Africa when it comes to equity. For capital markets, both debt and equity, the opportunities are really on the continent and the liquidity that can be generated. The important thing is to be able to tell the story to protect these investors in local capital markets. You're right that there are opportunities in sort of ADRs in euro markets for debenture notes for these various governments. It's about speed to market. So if governments around the region talk about bond issues for 4 years, it's like stale fish. It's just fish that goes stale very quickly. And that's part of it, right? So I think gone are those days where we can continue to talk about a country launching its bond. We need to get out there and make it happen. And investors are looking at that speed to market very quickly. Investors are looking for commercial aptitude on behalf of government very intensely.
Vishal, great to have you on the program. Thank you so very much.
My pleasure, Eleni.
That was Vishal Agarwal, Sub-Saharan Infrastructure, Finance and PPP leader from the PricewaterhouseCoopers. Right.